A new report from Punchbowl News says that Amazon is looking to avoid the blame for raising prices as a result of President Trump's new tariff.
In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them.
It was the news that broke just before those two took the podium that Amazon is now going to be displaying how much of an item's cost is derived from tariffs. We are seeing reports already.
I imagine you do when it comes to tariffs.
We look at all the things that could impact consumers and customers.
A new report from Punchbowl News says that Amazon is looking to avoid the blame for raising prices as a result of President Trump's new tariff. In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal. That means they do it to us, and we do it to them. He called euphemistically the president's strategic uncertainty in his negotiating position over time here on Amazon. In this report, Amazon might start listing the additional cost on specific items put in place by the tariffs. The president is clearly angry. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said she had spoken to him about was the news that broke just before those two took the podium, that Amazon is now going to be displaying how much of an item's cost is derived from tariffs. We are seeing reports already. I imagine you do. When it comes to tariffs, we look at all the things that could impact consumers and customers. But the first sign of collapse was not a headline, not a press release. It was silence. The elevators in Amazon's Seattle headquarters stopped carrying late-night strategy teams. The buzzing war rooms on the 14th floor, where global shipping routes were once recalibrated in real time, went dark. No leaks, no rumors, just one subtle shift. Executives stopped scheduling future meetings in Seattle. And then came the blow. Without warning, Amazon's global leadership announced it would relocate its headquarters beyond the borders of the United States. Not a symbolic second campus, not a satellite expansion. The entire global command structure, operations, logistics, finance, and executive decision-making was being moved abroad. The reason? Tariffs. But not just any tariffs. This was a politically charged, economically devastating, globally retaliated trade war that reshaped the calculus of multinational survival. And in the process, it forced America's largest e-commerce empire to do the unthinkable. Pack up, leave, and never look back. Before we continue, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us fight the algorithm and keep stories like this alive for more viewers. It did not begin with Amazon. It began with a trade doctrine. In January of 2025, a newly elected administration reignited what it called a patriotic trade revolution. Massive tariffs were imposed on everything from Chinese electronics to European pharmaceuticals to Canadian raw materials. The de minimis rule, which had allowed low-value imports to enter the country duty-free, was abruptly shut down. For Amazon, that rule was a foundation. It allowed millions of third-party sellers from overseas to flood its marketplace with inexpensive goods, electronics, accessories, textiles, all sold at razor-thin margins and delivered through hyper-optimized distribution chains. Now, every one of those items became subject to crushing tariffs, up to 145%, depending on the country of origin. Almost overnight, Amazon's price edge evaporated. Suddenly, foreign competitors operating outside U.S. borders had the upper hand. Cheaper goods, smoother shipping, and protected margins. And Amazon, it was being forced to carry the burden of a geopolitical standoff. In boardrooms across Seattle, top executives ran the numbers, and then ran them again. The math was merciless. Projections showed that Amazon stood to lose over $13 billion in profit over the next 36 months if nothing changed. So they changed everything. They called it Project Silver Compass. and its goal was audacious: identify a new host nation, relocate Amazon's global headquarters, redraw the map of global e-commerce from scratch. This was not theoretical. Within weeks, Amazon's internal relocation team, led by former global logistics chief Vincent Chow, began evaluating a short list of countries. The criteria were clear: zero or low tariffs, favorable tax policy, geopolitical neutrality, tech-forward infrastructure, stable governance. 4 countries made the short list: Singapore, Ireland, Canada, United Arab Emirates. Singapore was fast, free, and laser-focused on commerce. Ireland had proven it could absorb corporate giants with minimal friction. Canada offered cultural proximity and bilateral trade flexibility. And the UAE? No corporate tax and total political insulation. A fortress for multinational operations. Behind closed doors, Amazon began secret negotiations with officials in all 4 countries, seeking to lock in tax guarantees, data security exemptions, and expedited residency for thousands of employees. One deal stood out. A package reportedly offered by the UAE included 10 years of zero tax, a sovereign data treaty, a custom-built global logistics district in Dubai, expedited relocation for up to 40,000 employees and their families. At the same time, tensions were rising back home. Amazon's experimental plan to display tariff surcharge charges directly on product pages to show customers exactly how much trade policy was costing them was leaked to the media. The reaction from the White House was nuclear. President Trump's press secretary accused Amazon of undermining American interests. Congressional allies called for antitrust retaliation. A private call between the president and Jeff Bezos reportedly ended with Bezos warning, "If you make it impossible to operate here, we will operate somewhere else." Then came the silence. No more headlines, no more comment from Amazon's executive suite. No more meetings scheduled in Seattle past June. And on May 6, 2025, Amazon confirmed the unthinkable. Its global headquarters would be relocated overseas. The economic impact was immediate and violent. Wall Street initially staggered. Amazon stock dropped 5% on the announcement, then rebounded when analysts realized that long-term savings from lower taxes and tariff-free trade could outweigh short-term disruption. But for Seattle, it was a bloodbath. Tens of thousands of workers faced relocation decisions. Housing markets, once inflated by Amazon's presence, began sliding. Small businesses that thrived on Amazon foot traffic shuttered. City officials scrambled to plug holes in projected tax revenue. And Amazon? Amazon was already shipping its first wave of executive teams to Dubai. Its data architecture was being duplicated on sovereign soil in Abu Dhabi. Cloud engineers were being trained on data localization laws, Islamic finance protocols, and Gulf labor compliance. Fulfillment centers in Bahrain and Oman were being outfitted with solar arrays and autonomous sorting equipment. Amazon was becoming borderless, stateless, post-American, and other companies were watching closely. If Amazon could walk away from U.S. policy chaos, why couldn't they? Already, Apple has begun lobbying for tariff relief on Chinese components, with a leaked memo warning that continued restrictions may require restructuring supply operations overseas. Tesla has applied for new tax treatment in Indonesia, where it's building a battery facility outside of U.S. regulation. Even Walmart has begun re-evaluating its foreign sourcing structures to future-proof its logistics chain. Amazon's exodus is more than just a headquarters shift, it is a corporate declaration of independence. And for the United States, it is a wake-up call. Washington now faces the fallout of weaponizing trade without a plan for blowback. The tariff strategy meant to punish China, invigorate domestic production, and assert geopolitical dominance has instead created a vacuum that foreign nations are rushing to fill. In Dubai, Singapore, and Dublin, tech ministers are quietly celebrating. They know what just happened. America's most powerful company just became a customer, not of the U.S. government, but of theirs. And they are preparing for more. Amazon's new headquarters is already being hailed as a digital special economic zone, a campus where AI, robotics, and quantum supply chain optimization can be developed without American regulatory constraints. Universities near the new HQ are opening joint research labs. Regional governments are slashing red tape and offering infrastructure upgrades. Amazon's workforce is fragmenting. Some teams are relocating overseas. Others are being retrained. A new international talent pipeline is being formed with engineers, economists, and designers from Asia, Africa, and Europe, now being recruited to lead the company's next era. Back in America, the backlash is growing. Senators are calling for an investigation. Labor unions are accusing Amazon of betrayal. Consumer groups are demanding federal action to prevent what they call tax-fueled offshore escapes. But it's too late. Amazon is gone. And in its wake, a fundamental question hangs in the air. What does it mean to be an American company? If America is no longer the best place to do business? In the New World Order, tariffs are not just taxes. They are triggers. And Amazon just pulled the biggest one yet. If this story blew your mind, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is just the beginning.